All right. All right. Are we good? We ready?
We're good.
You're on me now, right? Because I'm talking. Oh, yeah. Don't be afraid of that Zoom either. All right, man. Uh, welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome back to y'all. You feel me? This is a new installment. First of all, I'm Jackson, of course, of Not Jax Productions. Shooter, Acan, all of that nonsense. But this is the second installment of a new series that's not super consistent because it really kind of depends on who's going to be sitting in the chair. But it is called the Behind the Shoot podcast, right? Or show or whatever you like to call it. But we basically, anytime we work with somebody over for a project that's a very, very impactful project, a long-term project, a project where, you know, we may have to shoot over several weeks or several months or something like that, where it's a process. I always ask that person if they mind, you know, coming in, sitting down and really chopping it up with us about the process, not solely about the end result, but how we actually got to the result. So the first time we did it with Jay Martin, which is the space that we're in. Thank you again to Jay Martin, but we are in his space. And it all kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It all kind of like ties in because I love shooting for people and then creating a relationship with them that lasts longer than the actual shoot itself. You know, obviously it means more work, but it also just means more relationships, relationship building, connection, building community, and then obviously just, you know, being able to work together in the future and having a dependable client / friend, but also knowing that they have a dependable, you know, camera guy, videographer, filmmaker, content creator, and we both are able to just kind of like lean on each other. So this is episode 2 of Behind the Shoot. Hopefully they'll happen more often because that means we're working with more people long term. But right now, tonight, man, we have I can't introduce you yet because you got to go last because you're the special guest. We have our B shooter in the building, Nick, from Erotic Boudoir, also from Not Jax Productions.
Yes.
Tell all the people who you are real quick before we
Y'all know who I am.
get started.
Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I be. No, but I'm Nick, B-Cam shooter, BTS shooter for Not Jax Productions and my own company, Erotic Boudoir. And y'all miss me?
And back to you, Jax. but yeah, man, for episode 2 Behind the Shoot, we have the Tiara B, aka Tiance, is what you coined her. Tiance.
I love that.
In the middle, in the hot seat, man. You are the special guest for episode 2 of Behind the Shoot, and we're here to talk about not necessarily who you are, because I think everybody kind of knows that who's going to be watching this, but just the process of shooting a documentary, how you came up with it, just all of that stuff. So introduce the people real quick, and then I can start, you know, asking you some questions, and then we're going to be kind of like bouncing off of one another.
Yes, thank you. That was an amazing introduction. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to be here. My name is Tiara, or Tiara B, or T. I am the owner and founder and CEO of Daily Dressings, the jewelry brand, the creative director. I started this brand from the ground up, but of course I worked with an amazing team. I'm really excited to continue to surround myself with an incredible team here. So let's get to it. Let's get into some things.
All right, bet. So like I said, when we was on the phone, man, it looks like a pod. It's set up like a pod, but I really just wanted to be a conversation. So I know you have a reputation to uphold, but I'm gonna try to get you to veer off of it just for a little bit. But we are going, you know, chop it up about the process of shooting the doc, man. So I really want to start first though with from the very beginning. I know Jay from Elitism referred you or recommended you, but when I spoke to you for the first time, you kind of was like, well, I kind of saw your work already. I kind of knew I wanted to do something. So, like, what actually made you not only pull the trigger, but what made you want to do a doc? And then what made you actually reach out? And then what made you actually pull the trigger?
So those are amazing questions. Everything was
So professional.
Yes. They are. They're amazing questions because now I really got to like go way back. So honestly, how it all started was I feel like it was a lot of messages and signs from God that I was getting. I felt like I was just getting so many like signals until it was time to pull the trigger. Like I got so many signals. So yes, I knew that you worked with Jay a few times, but I have been following Jax for some time. Again, we've talked, and I've told you stories about how like I loved Sharice McGill, like how much I admired her and just her work and what she did in the community. And I thought the quality of work in regards to like her visuals was amazing. And I was like, wow, like she's incredible. But like who is behind like the visuals and who's behind all this? And so because I followed Sharice McGill, God rest her soul, because I followed her, I then followed Jax, who was someone that was around her. And so I would see like the incredible work that I tapped in, and I was tapped in for a minute. Just so happens that, Jax also did work with Jay. And I had met Jay through a mutual friend and was invited to be a part of one of Jay's events. And then over time, Jay and I established a great friendship. And, Jay is not a gatekeeper at all. So Jay shared like, hey, you should definitely work with Jax. If you want to do an ad or you want to shoot a commercial or something, like work with Jax. And I was like, wow, like Jax is really dope. Like his work is dope. But if I do anything, it's not just going to be like a short, like, commercial. It's not going to be a short ad. Right. And so I started seeing like signs about, doing a documentary. Like, for example, I came across a page on Instagram that was like advertising billboards. And then again, like I was already tapped into Sharice McGill, and then I was tapped into you, and then I saw your work, and then Jay referred me to you. And this year was like the 5th year that I was in business, and I just kept getting just signs saying, okay, like you have to do it. And literally, I think it was God that told me like, okay, I don't care how it happens, but it needs to happen. And this is the year. So I just told myself, okay, I don't care how it happens. It needs to happen. I'm doing it. And Jay will tell you this himself. I said to him, I'm doing a documentary. I don't care how it happens, but I'm going to do it. Jay literally was like, okay, here's his number. Hit him up. And so that's when I hit you up, and you were so cool. You weren't weird. You were friendly. I mean, matters. Like, you were friendly, and then, like, it just from there, just the magic happened. So, yeah.
Our creator, our photographer, videographer, people, like, is that like the MO? Like, weirdo?
Yes.
Like, kind of.
Yes.
Very.
Yeah, very much so.
Very. They had
very
you bent
much
over
so.
a fire hydrant if you left.
Yeah.
Talking about tell the people your brand vision.
That is funny. All right, so did you have anything to add to that before
No.
Okay, so I do remember having a conversation and just kind of, you kind of filling me out a little bit. And then if I'm not mistaken, we probably just like scheduled a call, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of talk about what you wanted to do. Now, coming from my side of, I guess, like the creative process or whatever, I'm always a little nervous, and I'm working on this, and I've been working on this. I'm always a little nervous to tell people like how much stuff costs, especially when it's a bigger project, especially when it's a documentary, because those are personally like that's my forte. That's my favorite thing to do, but that's also what I think I'm best at.
Yeah.
But that's also, those are like big ticket items or whatever, right? So like on my end, I'm always thinking about, should I tell the person how much it's gonna cost first and then explain like what all goes into it? Or should I explain what goes into it and like the value of it and like hear them out, get them talking, and then like tell them how much it's gonna cost at the end, right? And one thing I used to do earlier, because I've been doing this for going on 6 years now, I used to try to get, I flip-flopped. I used to try to load them up with how much it's gonna take for me to do this, and this is why it's gonna cost what it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
And then I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna just tell them the price in the beginning. And then, which is where I am now, it's not really telling them about how much it's gonna take me to give you what you want, but it's more so about like telling you about like the what value is gonna bring. You know what I mean? What value is going to bring outside of dollars, outside of money, but just in terms of, especially if you're a brand, like how you're gonna look, how this is gonna, how you're gonna convey your messages to people, how your visuals like really matter in terms of, you know, looking professional, being professional, taking your business serious. Yeah. And that's kind of where I am now. And then I'll still tell them how much it costs after, but they kind of see it better as like what it's worth, not necessarily like how much it costs.
Yeah.
So that's what was going on in my head, like even before we had a conversation, because you just never know what somebody else's situation is, like whether they got all the money in the world or whether they just, you know, rubbing two nickels together, but they still want to create like some dope shit though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I remember just asking you a lot of questions in terms of like, why do you even want to do this? Like, why is this important to you? Because I'm gonna give you a little bit of, see, this is behind the paywall.
He said, "Why you want this? Why you want this documentary?"
Nah, but this is a little bit of sauce for the people who might be behind the camera though.
Yeah.
Like by asking you questions, right? You're telling yourself why this is worth what it's about to cost.
Yeah.
As opposed to me telling you like, nah, like you really want to do this. Like this is really worth it. Because like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like you said it.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like you said why it's important, and you kind of allow the people to talk themselves into why they actually want to do this thing that they said that they want to do.
Yeah.
So that's how my mindset was going into the conversation. But then I feel like I quickly kind of knew that I got the vibe that you was like really serious about it. You know what I'm saying? And that always makes the meetings or like the consultations or whatever you want to call it. That always makes it easier on my side, because now it's like you know this person want to work.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, all right, well, how I'm gonna come up with the bread then?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a good call for me just based off of that, because I always, just like how you're trying to, you know, fill me out, I'm trying to fill the potential client out also, to make sure that y'all not weird. You know, that y'all not weird, that y'all not bullshitting, that y'all not because there are people like that. Like I just want something that looks really cool and like, but I want it for as cheap as possible. I'm like, no. I can remember it, because those be the worst clients though, because I remember back in the early days in Not Jacks, I was talking to some people and they were sending me like inspiration, like videos and like content and stuff like that, and they were sending me like Beyonce videos, Rihanna, Kanye shit, and
For $100.
You know what I'm saying? For like, and they budget was like $1,000, and I was just like,
wow.
I'm like, you sent me like a $800,000 like video, right? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
But nah, but I say all of that to say though, I had good vibes just from the first conversation. You know what I'm saying, that we had. Still was a little nervous to kind of tell you what the damage was going to be. But that would also lead me into another question of like, after we talked, after I told you how much it was going to cost, I think we actually did have a little bit of a negotiation period, and then we landed on something that we both thought was fair. how does that feel coming from your perspective of somebody who wants to create something, but it is a big purchase, or it is a big investment, or like take us kind of through that. Like, what was your mindset of when you knew, like, all right, this how much it's going to be?
So,
and we'll never say how much the price is.
right.
Just for y'all wondering, like, damn, like, how much was it? You just got to call me and find out.
Exactly.
You feel me? If you want to shoot some shit.
Schedule your consultation at notjacksproduction.com.
Right. So basically you're asking, like, take you through, like, my mind frame, like how that was.
Yeah,
for me, like
was it like, oh damn, that's totally too much, or oh, I got that, that's no problem, or was it like, you know what, that's a nice amount, I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. Like, what was your process after you knew, like, okay, this is what I need to get the ball rolling?
So it's so funny because I remember, like, talking to some of my friends about the process. Like, I remember, like, texting one of my girls, like Tish, actually. I was like, yeah, like, I'm doing it. I'm doing the document. This is before I even knew what the price was. I told y'all I was going to figure out a way. I was going to figure it out. So I'm texting Tish, like, yeah, I'm about to do it. So I'm excited. I'm talking to you, and I'm, like, getting excited. And you sent me everything, and I was like, whew. I was like, whew, that's a little check. I was like, whew. But I was like, you know what? Maybe, we could work something out. Like, but
She's still breathing heavy to this day.
because I remember just when I first got it, I was like, sheesh. But it was the way it was, like, presented to me also. It was like the way Jax presented, like, the options to me. It wasn't like I was forced to just go into one option. Like, I had options, and the way you presented it, it was like you took my content and just, like, incorporated that into, like, packages, like, literally my content. So I felt like I was like, wow, like, you bought into, like, my vision. Like, you showed me the value right then and there. I was just like, wow, like, this is incredible. Like, you took my incredible work and you're showing it back to me, like, in this way. So it was like the way it was presented, I was just like, wow, like, I'm sold. Like, I want this. Like, this is crazy. Like, so in my mind, I was like, okay, like, let me see, like, what we can, you know what I'm saying, work out. Because at the end of the day, I just knew, like, I wanted to work. I wanted to do this project. And so, like, honestly, I took a deep breath. It was a lot. I was, like, texting my girl, like, whew, like, this is a lot. But, like, nobody was like, oh, my gosh, that's crazy. Like, my people were happy for me. So I was excited, and I was like, yo, I'm going to push. I'm going to make this work. It's just like anything that you invest into when you really want it. Like, we spend so much on so many different, like, goods and items and things that it's like, okay, like, why not invest this into yourself, like, into this art, into your legacy. So I was honestly, once we, like, worked through things, you presented things to me in that way, and I was like, wow, like, this is incredible. It shows me that you actually care. I was just excited to, like, work everything out to move forward.
I got you.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my favorite, and this how I'm gonna bring Nick into the conversation. One of my favorite shoots of the process, because we shot this over basically like 6 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 6 months.
You know what I'm saying? I think we talked in like January or February of last year, or of this year.
Yeah.
And I think we started shooting in like either February or March.
Yeah.
All the way up until like June or July or something like that. But I remember like the first shoot where we were basically gonna come in to the studio and really just kind of have you set up podcast style, like on a microphone, talking to the mic, telling us your story and your journey. Because I wanted to get like the audio just in case I needed to use it for certain parts of the actual doc itself, right?
Yeah.
And Nick was with me. We lugged all of the stuff in here just similar to today, you know what I mean? And we was just in like a big white room, which I didn't love just for like just the aesthetic part of it for the video part. But it worked out good because I used it for like some behind the scenes stuff.
And we got some great pictures in there.
Yeah,
right?
we did. We
Yeah.
did.
Some
Video,
good
I
pictures.
was struggling with the video, but the pictures came out really, really well.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. But no, that was actually one of my favorite shoots because that was like the introductory to the process itself, right? Like how we would, it was a good litmus, is it litmus? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Tester. It was a good barometer of,
Dictionary.
how things how things were gonna go, just like, like going forward. And I also wanted to just see what your comfort level was on like being in front of the camera, even though we weren't gonna use like the visuals, but I was gonna use it for my personal like BCS stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good tester of just how we were all gonna be like working together, and I always like to have Nick there with me, especially when I'm working with a woman too, because she's always like a really, really great buffer in those situations. Because like while I'm setting up, like I don't really be talking for real because I'm just trying to like get everything done as fast as possible, and that gives her like the open window to like be game show host Nick and shit like that. You know what I mean? So Nick, tell us about kind of like when we went on that first shoot. What was your? Because I don't tell you a lot. You know what I'm saying? As far as like,
that's why I'm always giving you grief.
I don't tell her a lot.
Like, we got this shoot on this date with this person. I'm like, well, can you send me the Instagram? Let me look at the Instagram page. Let me see what's going on.
It don't go like that.
Who are these people?
I don't tell you. I ask you. I say, what days are you free? Can you send me your calendar? Send me your schedule. And I just try to sync everything. But yeah, she pretty much knows, like, she might get an Instagram profile and what we're shooting.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
It's a blind date every time.
But we have our own system though. Like I come in, set some shit up. You know what I mean? She might help me with a few things, but I know she don't be want to break nothing, so she be chilling. And then I set the camera up how I wanted to set it up, and I just hand it to her, and I just be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
But again though, like her role a lot of the time really is just like the social part of it. You know what I mean? So walk us through kind of like that first interaction of like what your impression was of her, how you felt about it, and kind of once you kind of started talking, like how you just felt about, I guess, like the project itself and like the brand and everything like that. Smiles already.
Yeah. When I first met T, she was like my girlfriend instantly. Her voice sounds almost exactly like a very close girlfriend of mine. The cadence, everything. And I was like, damn, she sounds like one of my closest girlfriends,
Yeah.
And then when you introduced us and she shook my hand, I was like, nah, we hug over here. And she's like, okay, you know what I mean? And it was instant, like, good energies when you walk into a room.
Yeah.
And I immediately got that feeling when I met T.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be a dope shoot. I knew that my personality, I didn't have to filter my personality because y'all know I'm Lauren Filth, right? So, and a lot of times being on a Not Jax Productions set or shoot, I have to put my own brand aside because not everybody is with, the shits, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that T is, but her personality and warmth and good energy made me feel comfortable working with her. So I knew that we would get the best product for her. And the company too, the company that she had in the room, Sato, dope, man. Sato, super dope. And they just was just a very warm and comfortable and family reunion type of feeling in the room, like when we came in. So I was like, all right, let me go to her website and see what she got on there. Let me see what I'm gonna buy real quick, But it was a good feeling. It was a good time. I felt comfortable. Nice. I kept walking around the room. That's something that once we actually get into a space where we are shooting, I walk around the room several times with the camera because I'm just looking for different shots, just looking to see how the person is moving, seeing where I can get great angles of them. Because women, we love our angles.
Yeah, we do.
We love our angles.
We do.
Yes, yeah.
We love our angles, and I just wanted to make her look as I wanted her aesthetic to be as beautiful as the feeling she gave me when we came in the room. So that was important.
I got you.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome, of course.
How did you feel about that first like shoot, I guess if you want to call it, even though it was really more so like audio, but how did you feel about it? Because I'll tell you how I felt. I felt like you were very nervous. I felt like you were a little robotic, which is why we'll get to the. I mean, I'm being honest, right?
I love it.
I'm being honest.
Go off.
I did like the fact that you were so prepared, like with the notebook and the iPad. But from a creative, from a filmmaker, no, you don't. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm like, Jackson,
don't.
did you tell them that they supposed to be prepared? He said, yes, I did, and they came with nothing.
Exactly. So I like the preparation of it,
Yeah.
but just in terms of like going back and like listening to it, it sounded like you was reading.
Yeah.
And that's just that part I just didn't like. So, but I figured you did that because you just didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can appreciate that. But like, if you could put yourself back in that seat, like while we were doing that, like how did you feel? Because you did seem a little nervous. You was like, oh, I remember it specifically. You being like, oh shit, like y'all like for real, like y'all got like.
Real cameras.
like y'all got real cameras and
I
lights.
remember her saying, "Y'all, this is so professional." I remember her saying that, like,
Yeah.
you guys are really professional.
You know what I mean? So like, what were your actual like feelings if you can remember?
So you're absolutely right. I was definitely nervous. I'm laughing because the way you critiqued me was so like Simon Cowell with it. Like you were definitely nervous. So yeah, I was nervous for sure. I was reading off of a document. I had outlined like my entire like brand story, and I didn't want to miss anything. And I'm like, well, this is the time frame we're working with them. So like this session, I don't want to like miss a thing. And that was like my first time like interacting with the both of y'all, and y'all made, everything feel so comfortable. Y'all made that moment like so comfortable and just so significant. Like I really appreciated how like over time I could really get out of my shell. But in that moment where things really started to happen and I'm like going through my brand story, I'm like, wow, this is actually happening. Like we're really doing a documentary. And I just wasn't used to like recording, being on camera. Like I was never that type of creative like before. And so I felt like the more and more we worked, the more and more comfortable I got. The more and more I got out of my shell, which is also something amazing, I think, to take away from working with the team, from working with Not Jax Productions, because surprisingly, I feel like I'm pretty introverted. So in that moment, I was just extremely like nervous. But after a while, I felt like I started to like get my, like, you know what, I'm feeling this. I like this. The energy is great. I got this. I'm telling the story and people feel it. But definitely I was like nervous in that moment, and it was robotic, and I was glad that we could go back and just kind of just redo that over.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, listen, I'm not saying you did bad or terrible. I'm just saying it was like you were like, oh shit, she AI. Chat GPT over here.
But I will also say that I professionally appreciate you taking the critique and not becoming angry with that critique and actually using it to better your product and to better your story so that we could tell it appropriately for your brand. So thank you for taking that constructive criticism.
Thank you.
Indeed. What was your process of like choosing the people that you wanted to sit down and have us interview, and also what was the process of like choosing like the specific dates or events that you wanted me to kind of like, you know, show up at and shoot. For instance, like, you know, like the urban thing, the podcast, the was it all of the above pod. I think it was a couple other things. But like, how did you just go about choosing like, all right, I want them to shoot that, I want them to shoot this, and then I want to have these particular people like, you know, tell the story like on their behalf.
So it's interesting because I feel like I kind of went through that moment and that phase with you in a sense where like you were kind of extracting certain things like out of me. I like kind of had on my brain, okay, I want to shoot this here and I want these people. But as we talked through things, you kept pulling from me like, okay, what is the story that you're telling? Like, what is the question that you want answered? And so I had to figure out, okay, what is the story I'm telling? What is the question I want answered? Like, let me figure this thing on out. So like, I think this whole year, there were prominent moments happening for the brand, and I wanted to capture those moments, for one. For two, we went through that story outline like session, but then as we went through it, we talked through it. And we talked through different moments, and you pretty much helped me narrow down, okay, these are some key moments, these are some turning points, so I want to have these individuals involved. From what I remember, there were more people who were on this list, but then it was just narrowed down to a select few people. And it doesn't mean that outside of these folks that anyone else who has contributed to the brand aren't impactful or aren't meaningful at all. But there were just certain turning points and certain people who could really just tell the story like really well, and everything just kind of intertwined perfectly. I mean, even the way you put the film and the project together, you were capturing a lot of people saying the same things. And some of these people didn't even know each other. And they were saying literally the same things as the story was being told.
Yeah. Do you have I'm putting you on the spot. Did you have like a favorite interviewee? Like once you actually saw the final film, like, did you have, you know, like a favorite, not a favorite part, but like a favorite person?
I'm not going to say that I have a favorite
person.
All
right. That's fair.
I'm not going to say that I have a favorite person. I really feel like, you know, again, that decision, narrowing the people down, like narrowing those folks down, like for that was really tough. Like it was really tough. But like, I felt like all the people that we interviewed were able to really tell the story really well. And in regards to like the points and the different spots that we interviewed throughout the city, I don't know, it just felt so organic when we went through, okay, we're going to shoot here this day. Like, all right, we're going to shoot at this space and this time and this day. Like everything just felt so smooth, so organic.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I had a favorite person.
Oh,
So
I'm curious to know. And they gonna be looking like, so who is it, Jax?
Nah, man.
They gonna be like, who?
My favorite interviewee was Troy. You know what I'm saying?
You saying that like we just supposed, like I'm supposed to know, like
it was not like that. But
that's gonna be interesting. I can't wait till the people see this.
I think it's
when
not
Troy sees this.
It's not to say that the other people were terrible. I'm not saying that. Y'all were amazing. Driz was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Actually, well, let me do that. Let me do the sandwich technique. Driz was funny. Alexis was very emotional, but in a positive way. I would say Sato as well. He was better than he even thought. He was questioning himself, like, did I do okay? I'm like, nigga, it killed it. What are you talking about? Tish was she was good because she was just like, you could just tell she was like a day one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Radisha was really, really dope too, because she was just like super authentic and genuine. And Bryce was funny because obviously I don't know him. But I could kind of like, it's funny because I was trying to like gauge the way that y'all relationship was based off of what he was saying on camera. And I basically got the vibe that like y'all are two totally different entrepreneurial people, but y'all homies. So that's all that matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like even when going through the edit, he was like, I would never do shit like that. I wouldn't do that. He was like, you know, she loves people and she's so nice and so positive, and I just be like, man, fuck these niggas. Like that was the vibe. He didn't say that, but that was like the vibe that he was giving. But it was also like, you know what I'm saying. But that's the homie, so I'm a rock with her. I'm a roll with her. Whatever she feel is best for her brand and her business, like I support her in that. You know what I'm saying. But I'm trying to think. Did I forget? Was that everybody? Did I forget anybody?
Lori, was Lori?
Well, she wasn't technically a interviewee though. She was like she was the owner. Obviously, shout out to Lori.
Shout out to Lori Vera Doyle.
Vera Doyle, yeah.
Woman owned, black owned.
She was one of the
located in Mount Airy.
Yeah.
She was one of the locations that we shot at. But you know, while she was there, I was like, nah, like listen, we're gonna ask you some questions. You know what I'm saying? Get some dialogue from you. She was super dope. I could just tell she has like a really great soul.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's just like a really sweet person.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really counting her because she was more of a location than a interview.
Lori is more than a
No,
location.
I'm saying in the project.
I get what you're saying.
If we had to label what the
list,
people, it was like, the location was Vera Doyle. It wasn't Lori. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Shout out to her though, man. She dope. But nah, man, I fuck with the Troy interview for many reasons because just the spot. Like the spot was just fire. It looked really, really dope on camera. You know, he had a lot of wisdom. He kind of the way he talked. He kind of remind me of maybe like how my dad would talk if he was in his 20s or his 30s or something like that. Soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But honestly, the reason that whole shoot was my favorite was because it was like the backbone of the project. It was the backbone of the film. Like in the edit, I used that conversation that you and him had to really just like be the outline of like how I'm gonna put this puzzle together. It was
incredible. Troy's part was so incredible, and it's interesting because so many people wanted to meet Troy after the showings. They're like, where's Troy? Like, and he wasn't even there. Like, and he had a recent birthday celebration, and one of his circle is small. And so even at that circle, somebody that was there was at the premiere event and told him about the premiere event.
Oh, okay.
So he's excited and ready to see this when it's made available for everyone.
Oh, he hasn't seen it yet.
He still hasn't seen
That's
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? Who was your? Did you have? I mean, I know you weren't on all of them. You weren't on all of the shoots.
Right.
So I guess the ones that you were on, or just based off of the actual film, like, who was your in-person favorite? But then based off of the film, like, who do you feel like would have also been like a good favorite if you were there?
For the shoots that I was at, and where I wasn't, I'd have to agree with Troy. Troy his conversation was super impactful, not just to Daily Dress-Ins, but I think to anyone that would watch the film. He's a teacher. He's a historian, if you will, you know, and just the atmosphere of his lab was super nostalgic to me.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in the time of a lot of the collectibles that
I thought you was gonna put a number on it. I thought you were gonna. I grew up in the. I think you said the time
Now.
that these toys were out.
Y'all know I'm 39. Again and again.
We love it.
Yes.
Yes.
But,
But,
I feel you.
His whole room like just spoke to me. Because it's a lot of things that I haven't seen in a while from my own childhood that was in there, and he was well versed on the creation of it and the history of it and why it was created and who was in this movie and what actors and you know what it means to build branding and what it means to build a successful business and not. He didn't have that instant gratification mindset.
Yeah.
He understands and knows as well as you, T, that it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Because you didn't pop in your first year doesn't mean that you failed. Because you didn't pop in your second year doesn't mean that you failed. You know, it's going to take time. And I just really enjoyed hearing that young man speak so eloquently and with so much vigor for business and so much just knowledge.
Yeah.
At such a young age. He's a young guy, and
let's not say too young.
he's younger than me. So.
But you know what though? Maybe Troy. I don't know how old he is. We ain't gotta say it on here because you sound like you know. But you know what though? He might be like in the same situation that I be in, where people think I'm a little bit younger than what I actually am. You know what I mean? So maybe it like might surprise people that like, oh shit, like he seemed like he.
But that's still younger than me.
Well, okay, fair enough.
So
fair enough.
I can say that. You can't say that. I can say that.
I got you.
But Troy's his scene and Sato. I love hearing Sato speak, and he's so you can tell that he is a very gentle and kind man. Like I feel like everything he touches is very he touches things very delicately and with respect. You know what I mean? And hearing him speak in his scene and being with him in person, I love hearing Sato speak.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny how he really was like, did I do okay?
He spoke, he had it all out, didn't stutter, didn't repeat the words. He wasn't like, and none of that, none of that kind of stuff. He spoke very straightforward, and then at the very end of his sentence, he would be, was that good?
Right.
And it's
right.
yeah.
That's funny. That is
I don't know, I'm nervous. I'm like,
Speaking of the people who sat down in the chair and got in front of the camera for you or for us or however you want to say it, how did they feel? Like when you asked them to do it, and then like after they actually, did it, like what was their feedback from your perspective?
I feel like those people felt very honored. Like they were honored and really excited. Like, I don't know if it makes sense, but I feel like some of them felt like they knew that they were supposed to be asked. Like, that sounds so crazy, but like it's almost like they kind of knew. Like
that sounds entitled to me.
Yeah,
but all right. You talking about some honor? Like, nah, she had better ask me, nigga. Shit, all the help she asked me for, I better be in this project. No,
right. But definitely, I would say like honored. I think they felt honored. They were like excited. Some people were just like you said, like, oh, I don't know about, like, I don't really do the speaking like on camera. Like you said, Bryce, like, I don't really do this. Like, I don't really like, or like Troy. Troy does not. Even though he did so well, Troy was just like, T, ayo, T. Troy was like, T, I don't do now you got me on camera doing these speaking engagements, T. Like, Troy's not even that person. But I think everyone who was a part of this just felt like honored. And they said that on camera, like on the film, where you capture them saying like, this is an honor. Like,
everybody, that was one of those parts where everybody said the same thing. Yeah, for sure. That's dope. What about I'm trying to think. I don't want to skip too far ahead, but I'm
I
thinking
have a
of.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Take it
Since
away.
You're stuttering.
Take it away. Shut up.
Do you think that there's anything that's missing from the film that you originally wanted in there that didn't make the cut?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Wow. Yeah, I'm really trying to think. It's tough because while I could probably think of like, and I couldn't even think that much of, oh, like this should have been here or this should have been here. It was like when I watched it, I felt like, wow, Jax really did his research because it was things that I was seeing that I'm like, wow, where was this like covered from, like pulled from? I'm like, there was so much research done that there were things in the film that I'm like, while I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this is like dope. And I know when other people who have been supporters of the brand see it, they're going to be like, damn, like, you know, even people who were there at the screening probably did not expect to be like a part of the project or on film. Like, because it wasn't just moments of, you know, just people interviewing. Like, you had captured so many bits and pieces from the brand history that there were points in the film that, like, there were people in the building who were a part of the project and they were in there. For example, like, Jalivia, like, she, like, modeled at some point for the brand, but I don't think she knew that she would be captured on the documentary. So it brought some warmth, like, to her. There was even the other girl, who was it? Jayleese, who is now like an amazing journalist. Jayleese was here in Philly and then she moved to New York and she came back to Philly. But I worked on a project with Jayleese a minute ago and that was captured in the film from like an archive. So when she saw herself, it was like, whoa, like that's really dope. So even if I could try to think of, oh, like this should have been there, that should have been there. There were things that were extracted. It was put together beautifully. Like it was executed well. And again, just the way things like tied in together, it was just like, it was amazing. So
Well, thank you.
yeah, it was beautiful. And to hear, like, I wish you could hear other people express like how they felt. Like I was just at a recent event and this guy was just talking about how beautiful the project was. He was like, I remember you was in a spot in Philly, Old City, and you was talking to the camera. And he was like, that was my favorite part of the project. And I'm like, dang, like, and he's telling this story. And I'm like, dang, like, I can't wait to see this again. Like, cause I haven't even watched it again since then.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
okay,
no,
okay.
I gotta get it on one of these like platforms soon. And we gotta get ready to curate this next pop-up, but it's like it's beautiful.
Let me tell you, don't take this the wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch it until I'm required to watch it at an event.
Yes. No, I love that.
Because I watched that thing so many fucking times. During the edit, I probably watched that shit about 70 times.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
from front to back.
Were you nervous?
About what?
Were you shaking in your boots? Like, how are they gonna react?
So, okay, so like,
Dress sneakers.
honestly,
You shaking in your boots?
honestly, I wasn't. The nerve-wracking part for me in this process was just during the interviews. It's more so just how stuff was gonna look.
Yeah.
Because like when you're shooting at different locations, you know, especially with like windows in the back, like the Vera Doyle shoot, that was a rough edit just because like it was windows in the back, it was daytime, it was like middle of the day, the light was really harsh. So I had to like figure out how to just make it look decent. To me, I know like maybe just a person like watching the film is they not really probably thinking that much into it. But like for me, like I'm just that's how I'm always looking at stuff. Like the outdoor shoot with Alexis, it was super rainy that day, so I didn't know how the audio was gonna sound. So I was nervous about that. Like I'd be nervous about that kind of shit. Like I just want this to look right, so the person don't. So you're not looking at it being like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like this looks terrible. Like you know what I'm saying? So that's more so the stuff that I'm concerned about. But like after I could get the shots together and look how I wanted them to look and sound how I wanted it to sound, the nervousness for me is really just meeting the deadline. Because the editing process for this was hell. I ain't gonna lie. Because we shot a lot. Like we shot a lot. I had a bunch of content. Yeah. You sent me a bunch of archived content. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was trying to go through all of that stuff, match it up with the dialogue. Well, first of all, editing something like this, right? Like, okay, for the people, I think we had agreed on like a 14 to 16 minute like project, right? Yeah. The project ended up being like 50 minutes or whatever. So that's all my fault, but whatever. But like, I didn't want to. There's no way I would have been able to tell the same story in 17 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That it came like it would have had to been so many things cut out, so much dialogue cut out. Like, so I was just like, I want to do it right. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. Like, let's just do it right. See how it's received. And then, hopefully people will love it so much that I'll basically get my compensation on the back end just from all of the new people that I'm gonna be able to work with. But let me get the story right. You feel me?
The way you took the archives and incorporated it into the film was just like beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like the way it told the story. Even, I'm not gonna say too much because I want the people to go see the project at our next pop-up showing. But even the way it opened up, you just grabbed people like right away. It was like, hold up, like what's going on? That opening, that was fire. Yeah. Like that was fire, and you was able to like pull a lot of this from like, archives, and then like it's hard from my experience for like, creatives, videographers to even be able to do that, to like work with different types of content and then to be able to put that together to tell a story. And then you're like, well, doing like the shoot at Vera Doyle was a struggle. That was honestly one of my favorite parts of the film. It just felt like it was such a lighthearted moment to go into that scene. And it's like, wow, like this is just beautiful. Like, what you were capturing, the conversation, it was just really like beautiful. It felt like history in that moment. So it's interesting that you're like, wow, like that was a challenge for you, but that was like a beautiful moment to me. So sometimes like we might feel like, oh my gosh, like I don't know about this, and other people are like, huh? Like it was so nice that like this is how connected everybody like really is. So I went to Vera Doyle recently. I was doing some shopping, and literally I'm talking to her about Tori, like my girl Tori, and literally she was like, I don't know if I met Tori, but I know her brother George popped into here. And I was like, oh, okay, yes, her brother. And she was like, well, George told me he popped in to come and support the store because he saw the store in the documentary. So that made him go to the store to support her. So I was like, wow, like that's really dope. And they didn't see it at the same times. They saw it at different times in different locations. But the fact that like he came there to meet her in person and spoke to her, and just that impact was made on that film. Like just imagine how much of a trickle down effect that has. Like it's incredible.
Oh, for sure. Because I tell you what, after the film, I definitely went to Bryce's website. I said, I want one of them bags. Yes. I got to get me a Bryce bag.
Yes. Yeah. Seriously.
That's funny. But yeah, I would say the deadline, just trying to meet the deadline was nerve-wracking. I was working on it every day, from July until like probably a week before like the premiere or something like that. Just trying to do little by little by little every single night, and just like piecing a puzzle together is really like the hardest part, because it's not, even though the story is in chronological order, like it's kind of, you don't want to tell it like that on screen because it's kind of like linear is just like really boring.
Yeah.
No, like for real, like you know what I mean.
Right.
So it's like, so that's why I was
right.
trying to, jump from, do some time jumps based on like the dialogue, and trying to tie in certain dialogue that's like back to back to back, but with different people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where they can try to maybe finish each other's sentences almost.
Yes.
And then like layering it with some of the more current events that I was able to shoot on my camera, but then tying it into some of the older archive footage that what I'm saying that you sent me, and then really just having to like match it up with the story, with the dialogue, with the musical choices. Like that's a whole night or two of just like researching music and what sounds good, what meets the mood, what matches like the feel and the energy, and then choosing points to where you don't have any music, because sometimes the music actually is a distraction. So you know what I mean? So it's just like, but having to do all that whole process, in my mind I was like, I'm gonna finish this way before the date of the premiere. But in reality, like I was up against it, you know what I'm saying? And I think
25th hour. Yeah,
and like because I still wanted, because the original, in my mind, I thought you wanted to see it before we premiered it, and then you told me you didn't. So we was at one point, I think we were back and forth of like, like, do you want to take a look at it just to see if you want to?
No.
That's the process.
Right. I'm gonna be surprised, just like everybody else.
And so that was honestly the most nervous or nervousness that I had was even, it had nothing to do with the screening or the film itself. Like once I finished, I knew it was good. You know what I mean? But like I just didn't want to be I felt like a lot of the weight was, everything was centered around my job that I had to do. Like all of the planning that y'all was doing, and the group chats and the outreach and
nobody was like, "Oh my gosh, Jax, we
no,
need
but
a project."
what I'm saying is, if there's no film, all of the work that y'all doing don't mean
ain't no
shit.
Party.
Yeah, if it ain't no movie,
ain't
to
no
watch,
project, ain't no premiere.
we just
y'all doing all of this for nothing.
Yeah, we just here eating wings. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like.
Yeah.
And that was like the invisible weight that I was feeling. Was like, oh damn, like I see.
You
all
got
of them.
Quiet too. I remember when we was like, Jax, like you. Got
I was like,
quiet.
the group, because I knew that ain't had really nothing to do. The group chat shit that y'all was having talking about, that wasn't my job. My job was to be on this laptop and hit this space bar 1,000 times a night. Pausing and rewinding and doing all of that shit. Making sure I get everything right. And then honestly, like when I did finish it, it probably took me another like 4 days just to save it. Because it was so many things in the timeline that it wouldn't save all. I was having trouble. It wouldn't save all the way. Yeah. So that was making me nervous. Yeah. Like I know it's no way in the world that I finished this project that I worked like 3 or 4 months on and it won't save?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So once I finally saved it, I rewatched it a couple of times just to make sure everything was spelled right. Everything was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no like weird, just, I don't know, just weird stuff. Weird stuff happens. Like sometimes you save it, but the computer just don't save everything that you did. Wow. You know what I mean? So that's like an extra couple of watches. And this is basically an hour project. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like
watching it over.
You gotta watch it. But and it's not like watch it as background noise. Like I'm watching it like watching it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just to like man. You know what I mean? So I do that before I, upload it and to get the link. And then once it's really final and it's uploaded on the platform, then I watch it again on the platform, because you got to make sure that the platform uploads it correctly.
Yeah.
And then once I've done that,
overthinking boy came in handy.
no, because
I understand, though.
but it has happened before where I'll save something on my computer, it looks perfect, and then I upload it to like a Vimeo or to like a YouTube or to the Patreon or whatever, and something like they left the letter off, or I had like I colored something a certain way, but for whatever reason it don't come up on the YouTube or whatever. Like, so I've had that mistake happen before, so I know that, okay, like I still got to rewatch it before I send it to somebody, because that still happens. I think I sent something to you, like the trailer.
Yeah.
It was like a letter, a couple of letters like left off, and that's not how I looked on my laptop.
Wow.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't want something like that to happen on like the main thing.
Right.
So after I did all my double and triple and quadruple checks, got the link. And that's when I came back to the group chat, like, yo, or I don't know if it was a group chat or just to you. I was like, I'm done. I got the link. Here's the link. Upload the joint, whatever. I don't know if y'all want to watch it or whatever, just to make sure. But my job is done, and that's when all my nervousness pretty much like left the building. The only thing that had me stressed out in the screening was like the way that it was shown. Like on
the 4 TVs,
the 4 TV setup, but then having it on the 2 level, but you couldn't sync it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was less nervousness. That was just more like logistical stuff.
Right.
That, I mean, we got it to work.
Yeah.
We got it to work. We got it. People still enjoyed it, but just from my seat of the person who created, like I wanted y'all to see it how I made it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I created it a certain way, and I just want everybody else to be able to see it the same way, because I don't want people to be like, why I look like that, or why it's a little blurry, or why it's a little, because it's a certain way that you got to play stuff on on certain platforms.
I know. I just kept asking, like, once it was done, I'm like, Jax, is it done? Nope, it's not done, Nick. Jax is done. Nope, I got the last couple things. Jax is done. No. Then when he said it's done, I said, you send it to T? He was like, I did. I said, what she said? What she say? Because I'm the one always looking for the reaction. I live for the reaction once it's done, because I played a part in that too. So I'm always like, did they love it? Did they cry? Because if they cry, that's good.
Yes.
You gotta make them cry, Jax. He's like, I don't want people to cry, Nick. I'm like, no, we gotta make them cry. And when he told me that you didn't want to watch it, I'm like,
hey, what?
What? She gotta watch it. He's like, no, she doesn't want to watch it. That's why when we was at the
private screening, that was a different experience. Yeah, totally different.
Totally. The movie experience was. I wish you could have been there.
Same.
I was glad
you talking about at the Fiddler?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could be there to rep, not Jax, but gosh, it was. That was the first time, like, seeing your work on a movie screen,
like legit,
and it was
movie.
a feeling that it felt really, really good to see the work on the screen.
Yeah, that was a different, like surround sound. You're feeling like everything. I felt like some of the guys that were in there like was tearing up a little bit. Like honestly, it was just a different feel. I think Jay was even kind of like shaken up a little bit, because it was like components thrown in there that he was like, dang, like that's really dope. So I was glad to experience it there. And I can, like, how was that for you, like experiencing that, but then also seeing everyone else like in their reactions, like experience that like in that room?
It felt good. It felt good because seeing it at the Fiddler Club in the movie theater, that was my first time seeing it too. Oftentimes I work on a lot of not Jax productions, right? And I don't see the final edits until everyone else sees it. I often ask, and every once in a while Jax will, show me, but it's always like a surprise to me too. So when I'm looking at it, and then the end credits, like all of the BTS he put at the end of it, and then I see myself, I'm like, That's the good bitch. That's the good bitch. You know, that's fun. But to see the viewers' reactions solidifies
Yeah.
the hard work
Yeah.
for me.
Yes.
And it solidifies the anxiousness that I sometimes see Jax have when we're doing these shoots, or the conditions of the shoot. And he's like, oh, fuck this rain or the sun. And if it was an hour earlier, it could have been, you know what I mean? All those different things. Like, I know the sweat and the tears that goes into this, and the sacrifice that goes into all of the hard work. So when I see strangers love it as much as a friend loves it, it just is the icing on the cake for me. Because I know sometimes there is validation when someone says good job, you know, good, you did a great job, it looks so good. But it's a different level of validation when it comes from a group of strangers that don't know you, don't know, you know, they just don't know you.
Exactly.
So when they see your work and they're like, damn, that, you know, that's fire, it's like, bet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they so unbiased. Like, they don't got a dog in a fight for real.
Right.
They just know what's, like, this is good or this is trash. You know what I'm saying? So they don't have they're not attached to it. So that was kind of the feeling that I had, like, on the day of the actual premiere itself.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the people wasn't there for me. They was there for you. So, like, nobody really knew me, especially nobody knew me, like, really by face. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might have.
People knew you.
But I'm saying.
People knew.
But I'm saying they knew me as a degree of separation from you, though. Not, like, on a personal level. Like, not having, like, love for me like they got for you. Like, they're there. Yes, they're there to watch something that was created on a camera that I own. But they're there to really witness, like, your story, your journey, to congratulate you, to, you know what I'm saying, to big up you or whatever. So, like, just the spill off of that, of somebody being like, damn, like, who made this shit? Like, who shot this shit? Like, where that nigga at? You feel me? So, like,
People know.
that part was, but what I'm saying is that part was a really, really cool component, you know, just of the premiere, because, and I think I had said this, like, I don't know if it was on one of the lives or something, but that was kind of like the first time in Philly, like, where people was, like, actually approaching me. Like, I'm being serious, I'm being honest, where it was like, that was really dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm such and such, you know, nice to meet you. And, you know, I got this going on, and, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that I've seen this, like, it has me inspired and wanting to work and wanting to, you know, do something and stuff like that. Like, that was, like, really honestly, like, the first time I've ever had that kind of gotten that kind of, like, reaction for real. So that to me felt really dope. Like, oh shit, like, so y'all do fuck with my shit a little bit, huh?
Oh my gosh.
I'm being serious. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm not
But
joking.
it's just a matter of getting in the rooms for people to actually see it.
Right.
You know, there's only, after a while, because I'm a networking ass nigga, right? And after a while, my network, they know you. They know who you are. They sometimes think they know the relationship we have, you know? But then that it comes to a halt because I only know so many people. So it's a matter of getting in the different rooms of other people so that they can, you know, see or be exposed to your work, your creativity. You know, and telling a story, I tell you, that's something that I always have difficulty with, only because I'm excited to tell people the end result of the story.
Oh, you a spoiler.
So it's like, this good thing happened to me today. All right, so this is what happened. I met this guy, and then at the end of the day, we got married, girl. And they be like, whoa. What happened
in the middle?
Right? All of that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's certainly a superpower that I always say, you know what I'm saying, that you have to be able to have that storytelling ability, because I'd just be too excited.
What happened?
Then I tell them, I'm like, oh wait, I forgot this part. So then this happened before that, but wait, let me back it up. You know,
that's funny. I think it's kind of. I like to hear you talk about the process, Nick, because of the fact that I don't really send you the edit, so you're not there like during the process of the editing of whatever it is that we working
I
on.
be trying to be. You tell me no. I'm like, Jackson, I'm gonna come over and you gonna show me the no.
But but I do think it's an interesting dynamic of like when you're there in real time, in real life, like working on something, shooting something. But like, so you knew that it happened, but you just didn't have the perspective of like what it looks like on the camera. Like, we're speaking into the camera right now, but we don't see ourselves on the screen.
Right.
That's on the backside of the camera. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it is kind of interesting just to like, yeah, like, you know that we did a thing, but it's a little bit of a different thing, like, once it comes out and you're actually watching the playback of it. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's a very different thing because you actually forget what you said too.
No,
So when you
yeah.
when you go back to the video, you're like, I said that. I don't remember saying that. You know, which is why these visuals are so important because it's so many things that you do forget that you say, or so many moments in time that you'll actually forget about, and these visuals are a reminder of that point in time. So it's always fun to see how you see what I shot on the camera I was holding. You know what I mean? And how you put it together and how it's placed in an individual story. That's the fun part for me. Because I'm like, he saw it. We on the same page at that.
That's hilarious, man. What was your did you have like what was the hardest part of the process for you? Like, was it the scheduling? Was it the actual being in front of the camera? Was it the after all the shooting was done where y'all had to, like, what did y'all do on the back end of just like getting the promotion and the marketing and like getting the certain people in the room for the premiere that you wanted? Because those are two totally different things, and that's what I was saying. Like, I wasn't really in a group chat for real. I was in there, like, but I wasn't active because that wasn't my job. Like, I was focused on I was just focused on like being able to complete my part of the job, and like, I'll let y'all do whatever it is that y'all do. But like, what was that like?
So, for one, like, this takes a team effort, and that's hence building the table, because we're all a team. The Build the Table film committee, the Build the Table team wouldn't have done this, wouldn't have had this amazing success without the team. So shout out to, Jax and Nick. Shout out to Jay, Kayla, Tisha, Tori, for just being a part of such an incredible team. We all used our talents to really push this. I wanted to stop you when you were saying, okay, I was there and like a bunch of people was there for me, and people didn't know who I was or like who you were. And I'm like, no, like, people knew who you were. Like, for one, you were a huge push behind us, like, promoting and pushing the event, because one, you're super consistent online with posting. Your online presence is amazing. You have a great community and they listen. And so
sometimes,
yeah. And so the combination of us all coming together saying, okay, we're going to post at this time, we're going to collaborate in this sense, we're going to pull up and shoot together in this way, we're going to have these meetings and we're going to strategize about sending out like invites, like sending out blast, like reaching out to our own individual networks. I mean, it was a collective group effort, but it was so prominent that like people recognized faces, like people knew who you were before you were there. Like, Tisha's another person who would get that a lot in my brand. Like, she would be places and people would be like, wow, you look so familiar. I can't quite put my finger on it, but she was like the poster child of like my brand, because people see her face, the hairstyle, and they're like, oh, that's Tish. Okay. So I think you have a great way when it comes to branding and pushing yourself in that way. But when we all came together, we were like a force behind this, between blasts, between invites, text messages, DMs, posts, and people are like, wow, like, whatever this is, I need to be a part of it. I need to see it. I need to come in person. Like everyone who was there, I didn't have a super personal relationship with. Some people really wanted to support the initiative and like what we were doing. And like Nick said, it's about being in certain rooms, and is it of a certain niche? Like, again, I would have conversations with people and I would say like, hey, I'm not here to just throw a party. Like I want a certain niche of folks in the room. So we were targeting certain people to invite. It's not that it was closed off to certain people, but it was definitely a niche of people who, you know, needed to be in that space, who needed to network with those people, and people who actually appreciated the talent. Seriously. So it doesn't surprise me that people are like, let me go up. There were probably people who were watching and wanted to speak to you and was like, oh, now I have the moment to like talk to the person behind the camera. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, seriously.
That's funny. You know what? One of my favorite parts of the premiere was the fact that my pop actually pulled up.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
That's really dope.
Jackson got a sister now, y'all.
He,
I asked his dad if he wanted to adopt me, and he said yes. He said
Yes.
Good Lord. But nah, man, it was my dad, you know, he lives in Philly or whatever, but you know, we both grown. I'll be working. He's retired, but he married. So we don't
Wait. He's retired. You're working, but he's retired but married. Is the marriage considered working too? That what?
I mean, that's not for me to answer. I don't. I would assume it is. You know, it's like a full time job. You know what I'm saying? But nah. But I say that to say, like, even though we both here, we're both still living separate lives. So it's not like I don't see him like every weekend or like a whole lot. So it reminded me of I invited him to the Fiddler thing, since that was kind of like for family and like closer friends and stuff, even though I knew I wasn't going to be able to make that one. But I told him I was going to be there for the main premiere. Yeah. So he was like, well, shit, if you ain't going to be there, I ain't going to go. I'm going to go to the one that you at. You feel me? So I'm going to go to the main one. And it was cool to see him there, you know what I'm saying, and support and show love for something that other than sports. You know what I'm saying? Because like our main thing, not main thing, but like our thing has been like, you know, sports and baseball, and you know what I'm saying? He was my first coach and taught me how to play, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so that was like the sports has always been like the glue or the catalyst, I guess, for him to teach me certain things and lessons and just be a parent, be a dad or whatever, right? Wow. So like, it's just kind of funny, but cool. You know what I'm saying? How it was like he was able to like see me in a different element. Yeah. But it still be my element. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it was cool for him to like see me like that. Yeah. Where it's like, oh shit, like he's still on the. I'm imagining from his perspective, he was probably, especially when we got our chance to like do like the fireside chat thing.
Which I wish that was a little longer.
And
like, I feel like people wanted to ask us more questions.
Maybe, possibly. You know, I don't know. But it was fun. But I could, I'm imagining him being like, oh shit, like I'm back in the bleachers and I'm watching my son play, but it's not on the field. It's just like, you know, just on a stage, like speaking and shit like that. So, I don't know. I thought that was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying?
That's so
pop
dope.
pulled up. You know
he was smiling the whole time. When he was watching the film, I kept looking at him because I was sitting next to him. And he was looking at him like. He was smiling the whole time. He just was just watching, just smiling. Like, aww.
That's hilarious. Before I kind of ask you like these last series of questions, you asked me if I was nervous. How are you feeling about the premiere, the film itself, but also just like the event itself? Like, were you nervous about people showing up? Were you nervous about things just going smoothly? Were you not nervous at all? Was it more of a relief? Like, what was your feelings like leading up to the event, but then actually stepping into the building, seeing how everything was set up, and then, you know, just from there, like what was your feelings on that?
So it's a great feeling to say this, but I definitely, like, as we got closer, I wasn't so nervous about people showing up. Like, I wasn't just worried about, oh, let's just fill a room. Like, I wasn't really worried about that. I felt like I had been a part of enough events to know the components and how to curate an event pretty well. And thanks to Jay too, and like partnering with Jay. But I felt like I really started to understand the components of, oh, this makes a great event. So this is what we need to do. And we were bringing so much. We were bringing art, culture, programming, community, like all together. So in regards to getting people in the room, like people were registering, and then as we got closer, like so many people were like ready to like book, like so many more people started to book more quickly as we got closer. So that was a great feeling. We also had some great speakers and great hosts and great people who were a part of the programming, including, the fireside chat that y'all had, and just other speakers who spoke about their journey and their experiences. And so they also have their own networks and their own audiences. I think for me, it was just more so about, okay, we have all these great people who are coming out, these great speakers. Now it's our job to be great hosts. And so I was applying pressure, and we were all putting pressure on ourselves, like our team internally, like, wow, we have these great people who are a part of this, who are coming out. We have a bigger team now, so we need to make sure we host this really well. We need to be professional. We need to have a tight ship. Like, we need to make sure like we're on point. And so it started to really be, for me, just making sure, like, literally, like, that we for the most part gave a great experience. Like, I knew everything wouldn't be perfect, but I at least wanted it to be a great experience, and impactful and experience and a lasting experience for our guests. So that was like the biggest thing for me, where I was like, oh my gosh, okay, now like we need to make sure like we follow through. We need to make sure like we're bringing value, and we need to make sure that, people are connecting, they're having those conversations, and, we're getting ready for the next steps or the next conversation. So that's really what it was.
I got you.
For me. But I'm not going to lie, I felt like through the process, y'all really helped, not to say that I'm insecure, but through this, y'all really gave me the confidence to like, step out and show this artwork, but really be true to like who I am and the work that I put in. So I felt great. I felt good. I'm not gonna lie. I made an insurance right after you, but I made an insurance.
That's dope. That's dope. I will say though, one of the things that was super noticeable that you just mentioned was you became way more comfortable, at least on camera, throughout the process. You know what I'm saying? Like if you compare, that very first shoot that we had that we talked about earlier, to the last shoots, or just like even just the last like the street promotion that you and Tori was doing.
That was fun.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you could,
so much fun.
Like if you compare how you were on camera in January versus how you were on camera, like that was like September. You know what I'm saying? It was like a complete like 180. You know what I'm saying? Like you just felt way more comfortable, you know what I'm saying, with your rapper hands and all that, and just like really so much fun. Yelling into the
I was yelling into the camera.
Like telling people, you know what I'm saying, like they better come out, they need to come out.
No, literally yelling, like y'all need to come out.
You know what I mean? So like just from standing behind the camera and holding the camera, like you had tremendous growth just within, that several month period of just like seeming like way more comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
I need that clip too. Like that clip was fire. Yo, when I was sharing it, people was like, damn, like, all right, I need to come out to see the type of project. Like, all right, I gotta come out. Yeah, that was fire.
Yeah, man. What was I gonna say? So what was your? We're probably like 2 months. Basically, by the time this comes out, we'll be definitely 2 months past the premiere. Now that you've kind of had time to, you know, for the high to maybe like come down a little bit or come down, subside. Black people are always saying "die down." That don't even really mean nothing. But now that
Now that you chilling.
now that your emotions have subsided successfully, how do you view the project, the event, the process of just shooting it? What would you do differently, if anything? Was there anything where you look back and was like, oh man, I wish I would have incorporated that or subtracted that? But you know, like looking at it now that it's kind of far removed, like what are your thoughts on it now? Or is everything still the same?
So I would say definitely, again, I'm all about like, all right, I wanted to create a great like atmosphere, a great experience, a great hosting experience for our guests. And so like as I start to continue these projects and continue these showings, I just want to, you know, work to get better at having a great, like improve really, like at having a great hosting experience. Maybe that comes with proper or best methods on planning and preparation. But in regards to the event, like from what other people have come to me and told me, they're like, wow, like this was impactful from that project. I picked this hobby up, or this, you know, this passion like project back up, or from that project, I'm now working with, you know, this person, or I connected with this person, or, you know, from that project, I got work, or from that project, I'm now like motivated to like dive into my passion. And so honestly, like, that brings me, like, as cheesy as that sounds, that brings me a lot of joy. Like, that's what I wanted to see. Like, I wanted people to feel like motivated. I wanted people to feel like pushed. I wanted people to connect with other people and really like grow and build. I think I needed a moment. More so, I don't think I'm coming down from a high. I don't think I'm coming down from the moment. I still feel the moment. I think it's just more so about stepping into the greatness. It's like, no, like I'm stepping into it now, and I'm accepting, you know, and I'm proud. I have, my parents got to see this project and they're proud of me. Like I'm proud of myself. How often do we like tell ourselves like we did an amazing, like great, like feat or job? Like I'm proud of me, and I had to have a moment with myself to say, wow, this was incredible. Like I'm ready for what's next. I'm ready to walk into this and accept all of this. And so I feel amazing. I'm excited about the next steps. My goal right now is strategic partnerships and expansion. But I feel great. I don't want to say too much that like, oh, like, you know, I made these mistakes and those, like, we're human. We all make mistakes. Again, that was like a first time for a lot of us to like have that moment to come together for 2 premiere events back to back and get that many people out against other competing events in the city. And we did that. Like we filled up the room. There was engagement. We had people excited. We had people connecting. And now, and even on top of that, we had people that were just inspired to go ahead and dive into their purpose. And that was the whole point. Like, I had to, you know, be vulnerable and like tell my story, and that vulnerability empowered other people to be like, you know what, like I could do this. Like I'm inspired to do this. I'm inspired to take the next steps. And so, you know, I feel proud. I feel great. I'm ready to just move forward, walk into the greatness, and, you know, I'm ready to expand.
Nice, dope.
Yeah.
What did your parents say? What did they think?
So I could tell that they were proud. My dad didn't say too much, but I know my dad was like really proud to see me in that moment. My mom, like, she just had this like smile like on her face, and she, my mom always wanted me to like be something like super like prestigious or whatever, like you need to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, like, and that's not what happened for me. But for my mom to see me do something amazing like this in a creative way and be proud, like that brought me joy. Like she had a smile on her face, and she like spoke about me and how I was as a child, and when she speaks highly of me, that tells me like, okay, she's really like proud of me, like she's excited. And then she even had like a little moment like there where we had speakers, and like one of the speakers like that we had for that first event was like she saw them on the news somewhere, and she was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you're here. Like she was having a one. I'm like, Mom, like
relax.
I know. I mean, I'm great. I'm around some great people. Like I'm just saying. But yeah, she was like really proud. She was really proud. My dad was proud. So just thinking about like that moment that you felt with your dad, like in the room, like watching you, like, it's a great feeling, like when your parents see you and they're proud of you, even when you make a decision to say, I'm doing this, and nobody sees the vision right now, but that's okay. Like y'all don't gotta understand right now. When people see it and they're like, wow, like this is incredible. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think I could relate to that last sentence you said, where sometimes you even gotta prove it to the people who are closest to you.
Yeah.
Because they just so accustomed to seeing you from their vantage point that it's hard for them to, especially like if you're doing something that's like unconventional.
Yeah.
That's not like from their, generation, though, like the way that their generation used to do things.
Yeah.
Where it's got to like almost become, you got to show it to them where they know that it can be done.
Yeah.
Before they kind of like get on board and be like, oh shit, okay, so this is what you be doing when you say that
You're working.
yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. Now, like, now I'll say, like, luckily, like, I've been lucky to have super supportive parents, even if they don't really understand exactly, like, what's going on. But I think that's also because both of my parents kind of play sports.
Yeah.
So they kind of understand, like, the unconventional, like, no, I want to do this thing, even if a lot of people are never really successful at it. Yeah. So, like, I think they're super supportive and be like, yo, like, just, I may not know the path, so I can't really guide you, but I know it's always going to take some hard work. It's always going to take some discipline. It's always going to take some sacrifice, no matter what the industry is. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, but now that's fire to hear that, like, people with unconventional professions having support from like the generations before them, because that don't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? Just from hearing other people's like stories and stuff like that, where their parents put a lot of pressure on them to just go be regular. Like, and I don't mean regular like mediocre, but like regular as in just like do what America tells you to do. Like you're just
average.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like just do something that's safe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for real, real rap though.
You're right.
Because parents like they worry. They be worrying about us and shit. Like, are you cool? Are you eating? Like my people be asking me like the most basic questions. Like, did you eat?
But that's your fault because the video you put out about you not eating, that's your fault.
I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll be like, nah, I ain't ate yet. Sometimes I don't, so I feel it. But no, so I would say same question for you though, Nick. Like, what do you think? 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 Like you know, you were at both premieres. Shout out to you,
Shout out
Fancy
to
Pants.
Nick. Yeah.
But you know, since it's been like a couple of months, like you know, removed from that, how do you look back on just the whole process of basically kind of like doing it for a year? Like we shot it for 6 months, and then you know the event was in October, so that would be month 10, and by the time this comes out, it'll basically be like a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel good about the messaging of it all. I think T's story is it's an inspiration story. It's an inspiration story for every little girl that looks just like her. For every little girl that has those dreams, and even for the young boys too, you know, that has those dreams of wanting to do something out of the ordinary, wanting to go against the grain, you know, just wanting to see themselves on the big screen now, you know. I think that her story will be relevant for years to come. I don't see it being dated or fading no time soon. And I think it would benefit everyone to see her story and just listen to the support system that she has in place, listen to her struggles, listen to the tests and just all of the tribulations that she has to go through to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I still feel great about it. You know, I haven't watched it since the premiere, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go watch it again.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again now.
Same.
You know, because
Yeah.
it you know, going back to selecting the music for it, it's something about the music that puts you in different moods, because that's what music does. It provokes emotion.
Yeah.
And I think when you select the music in this particular documentary, it was just so good. You know, and just to pivot back real quick to the Troy scenes, like the music you picked for him was perfect. It was so perfect. I'm like, yeah, I'm into this now. Yeah, my rapper hands, you know.
Yeah.
But just to get that feel good feeling again, I wanna watch it again.
Yes. Same.
That's fire. That's
Yes,
fire. That's
that's
dope,
dope.
man. That's dope. I guess I can answer my own question. I feel well, it's two ways that I feel. Like I always have like obviously like a personal relationship with everything, with every project that I work on. I would be lying if I said that they were all the same. I'm like, oh, I love them all the same. And you know what I'm saying? Like some I have a closer,
Nope.
you know, relationship, I guess, with than other projects and stuff like this. And obviously, the longer ones where we, you know, you shoot with one person for like multiple times, those are going to be more closer to my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you just
Yes.
have so much invested in it. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that that's what this project was or is. Just because we spent so much time on it. You know what I mean? We spent a lot of time on it, a lot of preparation, a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And for me, like, especially because it is a documentary, and that's the thing that I say that I specialize in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really the lane that I would prefer to remain in, to be in, is like, you know, telling the stories of, you know, small business owners and people who, if I didn't exist, maybe they wouldn't have a way to tell their story in the way that I try to tell it for people. So I love the documentary pieces. I really enjoyed making this one. It was a lot of fun. Met some cool like new people and shit like that. But I liked it just visually. You know what I'm saying? I really like the idea that we always pretty much shot in like a different location.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we had like the, I guess like the bandwidth to be able to shoot multiple times, that you had things going on to where we could shoot some interview stuff, we could shoot some day in the life stuff, we could, you know, we could shoot at events where you're actually like, where we see you doing the thing that you're telling the story about, like we can see you in your element. So like to me, it's one of my favorite projects because it allowed me to kind of like be able to have a lot of different content to work with.
Yeah.
It had a lot of range. Like the project itself just had a lot of range. You know what I'm saying? And like it felt like I don't know if it's right to say this or not, but you know, it felt like a real documentary. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, and it is, but I think y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like when I say that, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of the times the people you shoot for, just they may not have so many things going on to where you're able to incorporate a lot of different, you know, just footage and different stuff to like kind of shake it up, as opposed to, you know, just shooting with maybe one interview or one location or one thing. And don't get me wrong, we can do that. You know what I'm saying? We can do that, and I think we're creative enough to still make that be dope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it just wouldn't be as long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that just helped with like the duration. That's what I was nervous about.
Okay.
I was nervous about is it so long that it's not gonna keep people's attention. That was one of the things that I was nervous about. I was like, damn, is it too long? Is it too, like, is it monotonous? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be able to tell the story, but not have it not be like just like this.
Yeah.
Like, can we maybe like go here and like some roller coaster shit? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that like keeps people like in tune and engaged, stuff like that. So that just hit me. I was nervous about that. But I'm hyped. I got a couple of people who reached out to me from the event.
Nice.
Who are thinking about taking that leap.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Taking that 4 to 5 figure leap. You feel me? Investment.
Yes.
And that's, other than just the purity of being able to tell someone's story from the business side of it, it's always going to be about creating new opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To work with new people, work with like-minded people.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that I really enjoyed looking back about the event was I got the vibe that the type of mindset that you have, those people also had it. So I didn't feel like people were bullshitting me when they came up and started conversations and said that they were really thinking about doing something similar to this.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that Hollywood kind of conversation. Like, oh yeah, like we should do lunch. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like that. It felt like nah, like the fact that I saw it in real life. I saw that somebody who is not a celebrity or a famous person still be able to take the time and the money to really invest in their own thing and then put all of this together.
Right.
Like, I think that's the most inspiring thing that the event taught people, was that like you can do this.
Yes.
If you really want to, and you're not bullshitting, like you can do this exact same thing, because everybody has a story.
Right.
Especially if you are a business owner, entrepreneur, you definitely have a story.
Exactly.
And you definitely have some ups and some downs. You for damn sure got some downs.
Right.
You may have some ups if you lucky. You feel me?
Yeah.
So just with that dynamic, like if you have ups and downs, that's a story right there in itself. You know, so I'm looking back, like I'm pleased with it. I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. I'm excited to see like what you plan on doing just with the film itself.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I'm looking forward to, just like seeing when you gonna tell me like, hey, I got an event I need you to show up at.
Yes.
And
yeah.
and and speak for a couple of minutes and answer some, do a Q&A or something like that. Like
coming.
That
Yep, it's coming.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you plan on taking over the world with this documentary?
I definitely plan on 2025 strategic partnerships and expansion. Mm-hmm. So I've already been having conversations with different folks in the city who are really excited about this initiative. So 2025, we are going to do some pop-up showings at different locations throughout the year, and we will have some programming. So I would love, based on y'all availability, for y'all to be a part of this, because we are going to be moving, partnering, and growing. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited. It's still it's so unbelievable sometimes, but yes, we are growing, we are moving, and we are shaking it up. Yes.
That's fire, man. Any last questions for us? Do you have anything that maybe I forgot to say or ask or leave out?
No, sir. No, boss man.
You covered, yeah.
Jesus. Anything from you that you want to add or you forgot to ask either one of us?
I feel like y'all answered everything. I just, again, Build the Table is coming to, we're doing a showing near you, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Build the Table. Coming, we're doing a showing near you, so make sure you tap in, follow at Daily Dressings to stay tuned for our upcoming showing. So yeah, definitely join us to be a part of that conversation.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can find you and your.
Why do you always cringe when you say that? We're guests is here. We got guests. We got company. I know how to act. I'm everybody's favorite dildo dealer. No, I'm Nick, BTS and BCAM for Not Jax Productions, and owner of Erotic Boudoir. EROTIC_BOUDOIR on all social media platforms.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, it was a pleasure to have you here with us for our second episode of Behind the Shoot. Yes. I guess it's a Not Jax Productions podcast or show or whatever you want to call it, man. But thank you so much, and obviously also thank you, Nick, for being on camera this time. You know what I'm saying? For being on camera, you feel me? And spicing it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And throwing some.
That's what I do best, spicy.
Throwing some color in there for us, man. And yeah, who knows when episode 3 will be out? That will be left up to you guys, because like I said, this particular medium is for people that we've shot projects primarily, kind of lengthy or residual type of projects where we got to do multiple shoots on, because then it allows us the information and the content to really talk about the process of what it was like, from start to finish. So, and just to kind of give you guys like an inside look behind not only our process and how we go into a major project, but also the person that we're shooting for, to kind of give you like the other side of that person's, mentality and their mindset and, what they're going through on their end while we're pointing the camera. Because, it's two totally different worlds and, two different mindsets and stuff like that, especially when money is involved. You know what I mean? So, but, if you're still here, I appreciate you. And if you're still here, you're probably a Patreon member, because I'm a cliffhang this somewhere in the middle on the YouTube. I'm telling you right now, if you want
what you need me to say, the real amend.
No, I'm saying if this is probably like a 2-hour episode, I'm probably gonna cliffhang it somewhere in the middle, like it may be like an hour or something, to see if I could funnel them over behind the paywall. But
Right.
but nah, man. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you so much. Daily Dressings. Buy the pieces, buy the jewelry,
Yes.
buy the merch, buy the everything, and show up at the next pop up.
Yes.
Wherever
Give me your
that may
website,
be.
T. What's your website?
Yes, you can shop Daily Dressings at www.shopdailydressings.com. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Daily Dressings. Stay tuned, like Jack said, for the next pop-up showing for Build the Table.
Indeed. And I, once again, am Jackson from Not Jax Productions, ACAM. And do you remember the slogan?
Don't wait till you become famous to tell the world your story.
Let's go! Let's go! Don't wait till you become famous to tell the world your story. NotJaxProductions.com. We are out of here, man. Behind the shoot. Awesome.
That was great.
Awesome.
Yes.
You remember?
Awesome. Yes. Shoot, close to a year. I better know.